Today I have for you a lovely beaded bracelet made with pearls and seed beads. The technique is called triangle stitch, and even if it's easy to follow, the result is a very elegant and intricate look. Keep watching to learn how to bead this bracelet. For this bracelet we need some round pearls. I have used here 3mm ones, but you can also use 2mm or 4mm pearls. Then we need 11/0 seed beads. Here I have used 2 strands magnetic clasp and the usual beading needle with a beading thread. In this case I have used Nymo. The bracelet is based on the triangular stitch, and for this we will have the basic sequence to make the base module: pearl, seed bead, pearl, seed bead, pearl, seed bead, and we pick up this sequence starting with the pearl and close this in a circle. We leave a tail, and that tail will indicate us where the starting point of our work is for future reference. So with the thread coming out of this last pearl, I will call position 1 this pearl when we have to move the thread through the seed bead and the pearl and to come out, or position 2 from this 1, 2 when we need to move the thread to this pearl for making the next cluster of 3. To finish this first step, we need to move the thread in position 2. So from here, 1, 2. So it has to come out from this pearl. So we go through 1 and come out at 2. And now our work is ready for the second cluster. For the following clusters, we have this sequence that we need to pick up, and it will be seed bead, pearl, seed bead, pearl, seed bead, and we pick it up and close the circle by going through the pearl from the opposite direction. And now we need to move the thread to position 1, so here. We keep our tail up so we know which way we go. For the next cluster, we pick up again our sequence, go back through the pearl, and from this point we move the thread to position 2, so 1, 2. we have our tail up, and with this cluster we have finished what I call a vertical sequence. Now we will go back up towards the tail. For step 4, we pick up our sequence, go back up through the pearl, and we move the thread up to position 1. For step 5, we pick up again our sequence, and now go back through the pearl, and now we have to move the thread in position 2. As you can see in this step, we have in the middle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seed beads. In order to have this cluster finished, we need to have 6. So now, with step 6, we are at our last step that I call the connecting step. So for this we need to add 1 seed bead in between these 2 pearls, so this is the first step of the connection, and now we need to complete this last cluster of 3. So we pick up seed bead, pearl, seed bead, and go through this pearl back up, through the seed bead, and through the pearl. And here we have our first cluster finished. So this was the foundation cluster. Now we continue with the steps that, repeated, will give you the length of the bracelet. So with the thread coming out of position 1, so we move it to position 1. We still make sure that our tail is up. We add our usual sequence: seed bead, pearl, seed bead, pearl, seed bead. And go around the pearl. And move the thread to position 1. Now continue with the same sequence. In this moment the work is quite visual and allows us to have the intuition of where we are going, and go around the pearl. Make sure that the tension of the thread is good, and from here we will need to move the thread in position 2. This is our tail that has to stay up. Now one more repetition of the usual sequence. Go around the pearl, and now we notice we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seed beads in the middle, so this means that it's time for us to finish, to make the connection. So we move the thread in position 1, and now we have to finish first the cluster in the external and then in the internal part. So first seed bead, pearl, seed bead, and here we finish the cluster of 3 by adding the seed bead inside. And this is the step, the sequence of step that we repeat to get the length of the bracelet. Let's make together another sequence. From this position we move the thread to position 1, and I like to turn my work over and start with the usual sequence around this pearl. Now we move to position 1, we have to go down, so we add the sequence around this pearl. Now we can see that we need the thread in position 2. We have only 1, 2, 3, 4 in the middle, so we add another sequence around the pearl. And now we check again. In the middle we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this will be the finishing connection. And we have the external side of the connection go through the next pearl, and now the seed bead that finishes this cluster. And just to quickly check that we've done it right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seed beads in the middle circle, which is good. And now to continue to the next cluster, we just move the thread in position 1, and we continue with the sequence of triangles. All you have to do now is to repeat this last sequence until you have the required length, and usually 16 centimeters, 7 inches, or whatever you need. Now let me show you how to attach the 2-strand clasp. For the clasp, I would recommend you reinforce the last clusters by just going through the same thread path a few times in each pearl, and we are going to use these pearls as anchoring sides. So here we have our clasp. We pick up 2 or 3 depending on how is needed. Let's go with 4 this time. So, and I go under, from under this, and over 1, 2, 3, and 4 through the pearl, and we reinforce this path. I think it will work with 3 as well. Let's leave it as 4, and we just reinforce, because this, as you know, the clasp is a very delicate side of the bracelet. And when you are happy with the number of reinforcements, you just move through the work using the existing path to the next pearl. And when we are here at the pearl side, we do the same thing. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So you pick up 4 seed beads, and from under up through the strand of the metallic loop of the clasp, pick up 4 and then through the pearl, and then you go around and reinforce this path a few times. Okay. And when you are happy, you just move the thread through the work and make a few knots against the threads in the work. So this way is quite reinforced the ending as well. Okay. For the other side, you just repeat the same way. You have attached the clasp on this side. The only thing is that I would recommend you to do it with the clasp complete, not separately, so you do not twist the parts by mistake. And yeah, this is how we make our bracelet. In a future tutorial I will show you how to make the same bracelet with a different color of seed beads in the middle, and the plan is to also show you how to have a wider kind of cuff bracelet using the same technique. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. It's a very beautiful bracelet, being extremely flexible and quite strong as well. Thank you for watching, and see you soon with another tutorial. Ciao, ciao!